Hi, the epilogue. The funeral for Sister Assumptia is held on a Monday, the day after my 7th birthday. The whole school is there, or what used to be the whole school, before the concept of our school became loose and hard to define. There is nothing about St. Bernadette that remains habitable, and it won't be for a long time. There have been a lot of conversations about lessons over Zoom, about school taking students, and classes being conducted in various vacant sport halls. There is naturally a lot of concern over leaving certificate students who will never return to St. Bernadette's as students again and will complete the rest of their coursework at home. It is apparently one of the biggest funerals in Kilbeg since a certain local footballer player died back in the 1980s. All week there are articles about her outpourings of appreciation for the wonderful things she did for women's education, evidence of numerous and surprisingly left-wing charities she secretly donated to that seemed to exist in conflict with her strong Catholic faith. Even RTE set up camp to do a news slot on her, talking to former famous students like Anthea Jackson, who travels back from London to attend the funeral. There is a discussion of a statue in her honour, then a street named after her. Then both conversations seem to fade entirely. The official story is that I was at detention and that the fire on the tennis courts was brought about by a combination of bad, new wiring after a rushed refurbishment and an unemptied rubbish skip that the council should have taken months ago. Miss Banbury, who had been supervising my detention, had unwisely attempted to put out the fire. There was a piece in the paper about how she had not been given proper fire safety training. There is no record of anyone else having been present at the St. Bernadette's fire. The security cameras having suspiciously short-circuited an hour before. No one can figure out what happened. No one in my family can look at me in the face. Rue tells me his side, the beatings from the children of Bridget, goons, while I was in the basement, one of whom remembered him from the meeting back in February, and all of whom said things to Rue that he refused to repeat. Things about how he looks, things about how he is. Fiona tells me hers, how the birds came from nowhere, how one bird, presumably the original one she healed, has not left. It perches on her garden wall every morning, waiting to see her. How she saw the flames engulf Miss Banbury, and how the image patrols her everywhere, appears to her in her dreams. Noella tells me how Manon quickly changed her form to look like one of the children, pretended to wrestle her mother, and then got her out of the court. They found Sister Assumptia collapsed by the door of the school. Manon speaks to no one. She is at the funeral, holding her mother's hand, her head bent in prayer. It must be hard for her. She doesn't really know us, after all, and who knows what kind of connection she experienced with when she was bound to Heather. Lily kept hold of the knife. She wrestled it out of the ground, then gave it back to me later. ARRON does not attend the funeral. I do not see ARRON again. After the conversation with DOREY, we stand outside the church, just the 6 of us, while the parents make small talk, unsure of who to look at, what to do. 2 people are dead. One was elderly. The official cause of death of Sister Assumptia is that she fell trying to escape the smoke and shortly after had a heart attack. An ordinary kind of old person death for an extraordinary kind of day. An extraordinary kind of life. From the corner of my eye I can see a man approaching my dad. A man so upright and proper that I assume he's the children of Bridget, someone belonging to DOREY. I'm wrong though. He's just an ordinary lawyer apparently. Maeve, my father says, when we get into the car, I've been asked to bring you to a solicitor's office tomorrow. I look from one to the other, wary. Am I being sued? No, he says, equally as confused. Quite the opposite. The next day, at the solicitor's office, with my dad sitting next to me, I'm told that Sister Assumptia's will was recently changed to include me. Maeve, Dad stumbles. I had no idea you were close with Sister Assumptia. I wasn't, I say limply. Then I realized I will have to give them something both, my father and the curious-looking solicitor, who is trying his best to be professional about this. We had a really nice afternoon a few weeks ago. I offer. We played Christmas carols on her piano, and I've helped her clean a few times. Still, there is a waspy silence in the air. I was punished quite a lot, I offer, and she was often around after school, doing odd jobs, so we ran into each other. The solicitor coughs and then looks down at the paper in front of him. The building has been left to you, Maeve, he says. Simply excuse me. The building has been left to you, he repeats. It's yours, or it will be yours once you turn 18. Until then, it will be held in trust with your parents, but it specifically stipulates here that until then you should be granted as much dominion over the building as possible. I can't say anything. I just stare and stare. Well, my dad splutters. This is one of those things you hear about, isn't it? The urban myth of the old lady who leaves a stranger a fortune. My dad is so nervous and overwhelmed that he can't do anything except make jokes. He can't look at the thing properly. I can't comprehend that his teenage daughter has been left property belonging to a person whose death she was present at, even under my shock. I can see how bad this looks. How recently was the will amended? I finally ask. A month ago. I cringe, deeper, darker, wondering whether this will get out. This new addition to my already terrible reputation. Though thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Well, Maeve, my dad continues, the building might be unsalvageable, but the land, I'm sure it's extremely valuable. I'm sure plenty of people will want a nice central location for a hotel or an office chain or something. We can sell it. The money would set you up for life. I don't say anything. I just think about the letter opener, the pearl handle. No need to worry about college anymore, he says, his nervousness trembling in his throat, trying desperately to convert it into a laugh. You could travel the world until your 30s, if you like. When I got the call to God, she said, you belong back here. The water gushing out of the wall, the glowing vein of power hidden deep within. You'll have to come back here in the end. That's your service. I'm not selling, I blurted out. I never sell it. Maeve, Dad says, steadily. You have plenty of time to think about this. You don't even inherit for another year. The insurance is covering the repairs. The solicitor says, helpfully, so you can sell once it's good and ready. You'll have to come back here in the end. That's your service. I shake my head. Never. I repeat, and I keep on repeating it until the solicitor gets tired of explaining things to me, until my dad stops making jokes, and until we get back into the car and drive home. That night I break into the old building. It isn't hard. There's police tape up everywhere. Some barbed wire to protect against intruders. But if you've spent the last 6 years going in and out of a place, you know where the weak spots are. The walls are stacked with smoke stains. Streaked with smoke stains, the floor covered in ash. I run my hands along the walls, smudging my fingertips grey. For some reason her office is untouched. The fire caught the first floor classrooms, but not here. This lemon yellow sanctuary of everything she so desperately wanted to save. The hymn sheets, the photographs, the abandoned gum shields. I sit at the piano. I sit at the piano bench. I don't know how to play the piano, but I tap a key anyway. I think for the first time about making a will myself. Who on earth would I leave this all to? Not my family, who would sell, but once felt like silly black sheep. Loner instincts now feels like a chasm of difference. My life won't ever be like theirs. My life is there, if there is one. The conversation with DOREY was short. We crossed the road together to meet her. Two sensitives together. DOREY said, now there is something you don't see too often. ARRON spoke first. What do you mean, DOREY? Not a thing, she said. Not a thing. I'm here as a courtesy, as a warning. We looked at each other, ARRON and I. Something like unity, something like a team. You know, Maeve, she continued, now that you've taken one of ours, this puts us back to the square one. Square one, I said. What's square one? I tap another key. I put my fingers together. I try to play chopsticks. I forgot how. Now she can be your downfall, and she can be your start. That's what she said. She quoted the song, and everything, the awful, terrible song. The song about revenge, and revenge demon, and the desperate truth of our situation hit me and ARRON at exactly the same time. The children were willing to do anything but kill us outright. People who know magic really know it. Understand that it is never worth it to kill someone in magic's name. The curse is too bad, the karma too toxic, but make them kill one of yours. Well, then you are in revenge spirit territory. Then you get the big guns. Then you, the children, get to call the housekeeper. I hit one of the sharp keys. The black ones, and marvel at their cleverness. It's a catch-22. If they had successfully stopped us from sealing the well, they could go on draining it indefinitely. If they can't stop us, they could at least let us win just enough to allow for the calling of the housekeeper. The housekeeper would reopen the well and get rid of us. Either way, they do, okay? Aside from the loss of Heather Banbury, and in the grand scheme of things, what's one Heather Banbury? There is just one little tune I know how to play. A one-handed melody that sounds dimly like The Way You Look Tonight, and can mostly be played by pressing 3 keys. Back and forth, back and forth. They're moving up one note and repeating the same motion. ARRON disappeared. Everyone wondered why. They asked me what happened at the other side of the road. He had finally found people, they said, found a community, found us. I don't tell them about the dreams I keep having. Millie. The little spyglass into my day, the dreams where he's driving, the dream where he's shaved his head, the dreams where he throws all his possessions into the sea. He seems to think he can outrun this thing that's coming, that's already on its way. I haven't said a word. How can I tell my best friends that they dodged death twice, only to have the housekeeper awoken again? How can I bring the burden of that knowledge to their door? I play the notes, push the keys, roll my fingers, the same tune repeating again and again. In this house, that is mine, as long as I'm alive enough to keep it. Wow, and that was the epilogue. And then you've got the acknowledgements as the thank yous, but I won't bother you with that. Thank you very much for listening. And we're going on to the next book. Every curse, every gift, a curse. And now I can understand why by reading the epilogue. So, we'll meet the housekeeper again. Take care. Bye-bye.